descendant of Clan Dunbrog, and I'll be shooting for my own hand. Curse this dress!
Don't you dare loose another arrow!
44 seconds for 2 logos, which, with these 2 studios, is par for the course. Still simple as hell. Castle, lamp lettering, boom. You're done in 10 seconds if you have no ego.
I think you're the one with the ego, since you think these logo sins are so necessary despite no one else caring. Well, except this guy with the most hilarious comment I've ever received.
Nice narrow, can I?
Discount Arya Stark.
Arbitrary TV reference.
A beau, Fergus. She's a lady.
Movie has conflicting emotions about gender equality in a span of 2 seconds.
Oh no, a husband patted his wife on her hunkers, which she may have been okay with and is common practice among many couples. How does a pat on the fanny mean the movie isn't promoting gender equality? We get it, Jeremy. You're what Americans call it SJW. Please shut up about it already.
Damn, how bad was her aim? Movie expects me to believe that this arrow shot went that deep into the woods.
These 2 sins are both saying the same thing, that Merida's arrow went super deep into the woods. So in other words, double dipping.
Movie barely cracks the 3-minute mark before introducing magic. F***ing magic. The lord of all movie ex machinas. Follow me now, child, and your mother will become a bear later.
Wait, was the sin about this movie introducing magic, or this being a deus ex machina? Surprisingly, this might be one of the rare moments where the definition of deus ex machina is correct, since these wisps just come in randomly to help move the plot forward. However, I take issue with the idea of this movie introducing magic too early. Like, it's the beginning, and typically when you begin a movie, you will set the tone to let your audience know what you're in for. So wouldn't this be the perfect time to introduce magic? Also, the wisps are a part of Scottish culture, so it'd be a sin to not include them.
You know, some say that will-o'-the-wisps lead you to your fate.
Others say they just waste your time, making you prance wildly around the forest, but everyone agrees that they exist, which is some bull.
You're right, that would be, if that's what the movie was saying. Problem is, you cut out the part of the scene that shows Fergus doesn't believe in them.
Oh, aye, or an arrow. Oh, come on, let's be off before we see a dancing tatty-bogle or a giant or a jig.
Your father doesn't believe in magic.
Well, he should, because it's true.
This giant-ass bear somehow snuck up on everyone.
He says, over Merida screaming and giving away the bear's location.
The story of how my father lost his leg to the demon bear Mordu became legend.
And therefore, we didn't bother to animate it or show it to you. It was too legendary.
Ah, yes. Let's show someone losing a leg in an animated family movie. Brilliant!
If you remove all the murder and rape, Merida is also kind of a discount Sansa Stark.
So, she's not a discount Sansa Stark, then. Gotcha.
She sure can ride a horse out of the castle into the wilderness, but can she paint with all the colors of the wind? Huh?
Arbitrary Pocahontas reference.
So, basically badass Maid Marian?
Arbitrary Robin Hood reference.
What the hell? Is she doing a Tom Cruise impression? Or is this shit actually happening right now?
Arbitrary Mission Impossible. Never mind. You get it.
Awesome. Now what? How do you even get down?
Let's see, Jeremy. If she climbed up here, then maybe she could just wait for it. Climb down?
I won't go through with it. You can't make me.
What? An arranged marriage in a Disney movie? That's par for the course, actually. So, sin for repetition.
I know, right? Like Snow White, Hercules, Toy Story, The Incredibles, Tangled, Meet the Robinsons, Peter Pan.
He divided the kingdom among his 4 sons.
One who is obviously evil because he's in the shadows and has demon eyes.
That's racist.
Also, and this is totally racist, the bad brother is represented by the black chess piece.
And immediately after, you then say the movie was being racist.
He followed his own path, and the kingdom fell.
Seriously? The message here is that he followed his own path, and that's the reason why Merida can't shy away from tradition? What about the clearly more important part of this story where the guy was power-hungry and obviously an evil guy? But is Merida gonna bring up this point? Hell no.
Dang, that's actually a solid point, and it brings up my biggest problem with this movie. We know there were conflicting visions behind the scenes, and this is a result of that. The movie tells the story of Mordu to try and say that Merida shouldn't be selfish and do her own thing, but then the film ultimately ends with her not marrying anyone and deciding to go against tradition, which doesn't make any sense with this story. Rare W for CinemaSins for actually providing a really good criticism.
They They're the family you worry about, but turn out to not be that important to the story after all.
Yeah, no, these extra families have no importance to the story. I mean, it's not like their eldest sons are meant to have a chance to marry his hand in marriage, and when she goes against him in the archery tournament, it almost leads a war between the four clans. Oh, wait a minute.
So we're supposed to think the awesome muscular guy is this dude's son, but his son is standing behind that guy. And my only question is, why is the strong, awesome guy standing so prominently in front of the crowd if he's not the dude's son?
It's almost like that's the joke. Sometimes movies just do things because there's no logical explanation, but because they think it's funny. This is an example of that. You're not supposed to take it seriously, which again, people say I'm not supposed to take CinemaSins seriously, but they're doing that right here.
I choose archery.
The princess declared archery would be the contest of choice, so what's this f***ing log tossing going on for?
Because there has to be other challenges than just archery during the games, duh.
And I'll be shooting for my own hand.
This is probably as blunt of a masturbation metaphor as it gets.
Sending this genuinely badass moment from Merida, and for what? A lame joke that would have found its way over on Santa Incorporated?
Also, super sexist, ancient male-dominated society just lets her do this.
It's almost like Eleanor tries to stop this, or something. And if you're suggesting any of these guys would stop her, then I have one question. Are you serious? She's a princess. What do you expect them to do? Think about that for a second.
Holy crap, now she's stealing apples and she's a princess, so nobody can say anything. So that's double asshole duty in 2 minutes.
Oh shoot, so you are aware that they can't do anything because she's a princess. Then why on earth did you suggest all those guys should've?
Do you ever bother to ask what I want?
This whole script so far basically comes from the dusty blueprint of Rebel Without a Cause. Honestly, as valid as the conflict is in this movie, it just comes off worn out.
I would agree with that when Eleanor becomes a bear, but before that, I find this conflict fascinating, and it made me forget that I didn't really like this movie very much.
Luckily for this blunt metaphor, the picture was drawn in such a way that the divide between mother and daughter is easy to slice a sword through.
Yeah, and?
Mom feels guilty about burning Merida's bow roughly 8 seconds after angrily throwing said bow into the fireplace. This movie is moving fast, at least emotionally. Try and keep up, okay?
I actually find this believable. Eleanor really did go too far, burning something that Merida values, and I find a quick regret of that realistic. How many times have you gone too far and immediately regretted it? Oh, wait, I'm talking to CinemaSins.
These bright blue forest lights are basically Merida's video game prompts. Also, this is some air traffic controller type magic lighting. The magic behind this must be half GPS. Apparently, Merida has never heard the story of the big bad wolf. Also, discount power pellets. Without any evidence or proof, Merida keeps following these things deeper and deeper into the creepy forest.
I played the last 5 sins back to back because they're all basically the same. He's sending the wisps over and over again because I guess he just hates them that much. The last one is definitely the strangest one though, because he suggests Merida is following them without any evidence or proof. Proof of what? Isn't she following them to find proof? Like, what is he talking about?
Fantasia Broom is Fantasia.
Arbitrary movie reference.
Toy Story Pizza Planet Truck Easter egg makes no goddamn sense in this ancient reality. You couldn't find a single Pixar character whose cameo would make more sense in this time period? Like Rex? Really? A goddamn pickup truck 2,000 years before trucks were invented? I'm surprised how upset this makes me.
Well, this is awkward. I sort of already responded to this sin in a completely unrelated video. Nah, you know what, I'll just play that clip because I can't say it any better than I already have.
Why would a Marine Life Institute in California have a picture on the wall of the Australian dentist's niece from the first movie?
Jeremy is taking an Easter egg, literally. Sometimes they don't make sense. Sometimes they're just there for fun. I mean, how do you explain the wooden pizza planet truck in Brave? Unless you subscribe to the Pixar theory that suggests the witch is actually a time traveler. But hey, that's just a theory.
Are you sure you know what you're doing?
How could she possibly know what she's doing? She stumbled into a witch hut in the forest and instantly asked for a spell. She's the very definition of no idea what she's doing.
Which is why everything goes wrong, no? Eleanor becomes a bear because Merida didn't know what she was doing. Like, that's literally the plot. You're just explaining a plot point and treating it as something wrong with this movie.
Have we here?
This witch's brew has somehow produced a perfectly cooked fruit pastry from a cauldron of bubbling acid. And I've seen enough Top Chef to know that this is some bullshit here.
Jeremy is surprised to see a witch create something with magic.
You made this for me.
I don't know, this mom seems awfully trusting of her rebellious daughter after the she pulled today.
The only reason you're saying this is because you know this cake is magic. It was made to change her fate. From Eleanor's perspective, this is just a normal cake. What's the worst that could happen?
Did Merida's mom really just turn into a bear? Because that is not the movie I signed up for. I know she said,
I want a spell to change my mum.
but that was frighteningly vague and contained no mention of bears.
I don't really like this plot point myself, However, the reason she turned into a bear is because the witch is obsessed with them. The movie established that when it showed her carving them, and it's the same reason Mor'du became a bear as well.
Also, if you're wondering why this Pixar original didn't connect with you like you thought it might, look no further than the story, which sets up this badass independent woman as its heroine and gives her nothing to do except clean up a mess she started.
Again, I don't like this story either, but Jeremy is saying this as if the general audience agrees, and that's just not true. Critics and audiences love this movie, so although Jeremy and I don't like it, we both have to acknowledge that we are in the minority.
The witch is to blame.
But actually, no.
Yes, Merida shares the blame for sure, but she's obviously not gonna say that since she's an arrogant teenager. Also, Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Even though she's seen the shadow and saw her claws and all things pointing to being a bear, the mirror is what sends her into a surprised frenzy of destruction.
Did you even watch this scene? When she saw the shadow, she thought that was another bear that was in the room. She didn't realize that was her. It wasn't until after she saw her claws, then saw in a mirror, that she finally put two and two together.
You can have my desserts for 2-3 weeks.
How are these kids not insanely fat at this point? Don't give me that kid metabolism nonsense either. These kids steal hundreds of pastries a day.
Well, they actually exercise and eat things other than desserts. In other words, they're not most Americans. That includes me.
I can't believe it. I found it.
I can't either, since this stupid place disappeared completely in the last scene, and now it's reappeared for no reason other than to give you hope.
I'm sorry, this is nitpicky even for me, but the last scene was them escaping the castle, not Merida's encounter with Boo from Monsters Inc. or the witch. More importantly though, last time the house didn't disappear. From what it looks like, Merida apparently teleported back to the place with the hedges, and it's obviously not there. And if you paid attention to this movie, you're sinning, you would have seen how Merida found it. She retraced her steps.
Rube Goldberg, Ex Machina.
Sitting Rube Goldberg machines, and this honestly might be in the top 5 worst misuses of Deus Ex Machina.
There's one bit I forgot to tell you about the spell.
Yeah, there really was no way I could just hang around for 5 more seconds, or leave you a note that didn't require a Rube Goldberg contraption.
I don't have a problem with your first point, but why should she have just left a note? The Rube Goldberg contraption worked, didn't it? And got the same message across. And if you're saying she should have left a note with the cake, how would she have done that if she forgot about it?
One more time. Fate be changed.
Seriously, this couldn't be written down? Magically etched in stone?
Again, I have to ask, why are you asking this question? Does it matter? Merida got the witch's message just fine enough the way this is set up, so why should she have written it down? It's not like there's a scene later where Merida goes, damn it, what did the witch say again? I really wish you would have written it down.
I'll always be right here.
Even if I'm a bear.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
This fire is the exact same fire in the fireplace from earlier.
So we're sitting Pixar for reusing animation. Do you know how expensive and time-consuming animation is? As long as it's not blatantly obvious, I think it's okay for them to get away with something like this.
Do bears even like their fish cooked? I can't imagine why or how or why they would, considering they can't start fires. I know this particular bear used to be human, but is there no bear inside there at all?
This sounds like you're just making up your own logic for how this works. Like, you know humans can't transform into bears in real life, right? With that in mind, since this is a magical power that this movie is using that's not real, then it has the right to decide any rules that it wants. If the movie is saying that Eleanor still keeps the same taste buds she had as a human, then that's the rules and you have to accept it. I mean, you didn't even question how on earth a cake could transform her into a bear, right? It's fantasy.
Mom's full transition to wild bear happened really fast because I just saw a montage of her romping with her human daughter for like 5 minutes. And now this? I thought she had until the second sunrise.
But she doesn't become a wild bear permanently, as she goes back to herself shortly after. The movie is simply throwing this in here as a reminder of what will happen. Again, it's magic, so if that's how it works, then that's how it works.
They'll show us the way.
Will they really, though? They showed you the way to the witch's house earlier, and that just turned into a disaster. Why do you even trust these assholes?
They also show Merida how to get back to her parents as a child, as we saw in the beginning. And what else do you suggest they do anyway?
Split. Like the tapestry.
I know! The parallels between that story and your story are crazy similar.
Yelling at the screen.
Also, can we just go ahead and say the wisps are the antagonists of this movie? They are not kind, they are not helpful, and they are total assholes.
No, we can't say that. Again, the wisps helped Merida back when she was a child, and in this case, they helped Merida and Eleanor remember Mor'du's story, which then allows Merida to realize that in order to reverse the spell, they have to mend the bond between her and her mom. That was incredibly helpful, so you saying they're not is idiotic.
I will say that this dude catching an arrow is hilarious. He's the best character in the movie because he's clearly above it all. We'd remove a sin, but the sin is that he's not in it enough.
Jeremy sends something he likes cliche.
The best way to keep your daughter safe is to lock her up cliche.
Yes, Jeremy. Leave your daughter out where she could possibly be killed and lead to more loved ones being lost. Glad to know how well you'd do as a strategist.
Triplet Bear is Ex Machina.
What?
One of the many talents Merida possesses is sewing while riding on a horse in the rain. We didn't see her honing these skills earlier, but we must assume that she did.
It's not raining in this part of the scene, though. Also cartoon physics.
This is the first time the Wisps have ever done anything useful.
No, it's not. I already explained why this point is dumb earlier. Did you not hear me?
King is a dick to his daughter. I mean, this bear he doesn't realize is his wife is completely restrained right now. Why does he need to violently shove his daughter out of the picture?
Let's look at the situation from Fergus's perspective. He just found Eleanor's room in ruins, and then he saw a bear that he assumes is Mordu, and so presumes that Morda must have killed Eleanor. So now he's getting revenge on him, and Merida is getting in the way, trying to explain to him that that bear is his wife. I don't know about you, but I feel like Fergus's anger is entirely understandable, which is why he's throwing Merida away so aggressively.
When this movie started, if you'd have told me it was going to end with a human bear and a bear brawling in a rip-off Stonehenge arena, I'd have flipped you off and not even watched this shit. So, sin for you for not telling me that shit before I watched this movie.
I'm sure Luke is okay with this, but that sounds like a sin for me, not the movie, so I'll give you this award.
I'm naked.
Well, no. Actually, I have a tapestry wrapped around you. I mean, I kind of get it and all, but stop saying things that aren't true.
Excuse me? You're the same person that claimed the Wisps didn't do anything useful until they helped Merida find Eleanor in a climax, and that's straight up wrong. So who are you to send someone for not speaking the truth? You remind me of the media grifters claiming Hollywood is trying to force a message into everything while they also do the same thing, and that's definitely worth a sin.
Ach, lang me your lumrick me a moose nail lee your gun away a teardrop in his eye. Hey, she back wee lassie.
What did she just say?
We don't know.
We can't understand her.
She's from the other studio.
Ah.